Welcome to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy, wisdom, and healing, where we explore how energy shapes your life and how you can shift it to thrive in every area physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Each week, we'll dive into practical tools, real-world examples, and quantum energy perspectives to help you stay positive, navigate challenges, and reclaim your personal power. Whether you're dealing with stress, seeking balance, or curious about the energetic world around you, this is your space for insight, growth, and transformation.
What if the rest of this year isn't about pushing harder? What if it's about releasing what's been holding you back, staying focused on what you truly want, and allowing the right support to meet you along the way? Today, we're weaving together the journey we've been on since March, clearing what no longer serves, choosing what matters, taking small, steady steps, and noticing the patterns that quietly slow you down. Your future isn't behind you, it's waiting for the clearer, lighter, more focused version of you to step forward. And a quick note before we begin. The March, April, and May episodes are all available on my YouTube channel. So if anything in today's recap sparks something for you, you can go back and listen to the full conversation at any time. My channel is Jane, Janec, Phillips, Phillips, 4406. That's Phillips 4406. And you can listen to all my previous podcasts. So welcome to Release Your Potential Now with Jane. I'm Jane Phillips, and today's episode is called Ready for What's Next? Release What's Been Holding You Back. Think of this episode as a doorway. Over the past few months, we've been talking about releasing what no longer serves, clearing space, choosing what matters, and moving forward with more clarity and support. And today, I want to bring that whole arc together and give you a simple path for the rest of the year. A quick note before we begin is that we're going to be looking at new beginnings, what we released in March. So here's where we start. This year carries the energy of a 1 year. 2026, if you add those digits up, you end up with 10, which equals 1. And it's a year in numerology of beginning again, choosing a new direction, and planting new seeds. New beginnings sound exciting, but they often bring resistance because beginning again means leaving something behind, an old identity, an old pattern, an old relationship dynamic, an old belief of what's possible. Sometimes we say we want the new beginning, but part of us is still holding tightly to the old chapter. We can't fully move into what's next while carrying everything that belonged from the past. And I want to say this carefully. Not everything that once helped you survive is meant to come with you into the next chapter. Some habits were protective, some reactions made sense at the time, but at some point, you have to ask, is this still helping me? Is this still who I want to be? That's the deeper invitation of this year. Not just to start something new, but to become someone who can hold the new thing. A calmer, clearer, more connected version of who you can receive support and stay aligned with. That matters. You want to align with what matters. So as a back cover, March was about moving from lamb to lion, preparing for Aries fire energy, for momentum and courage. But before you can step into the fire, you have to clear the clutter, because fire is a cluttered space in a cluttered space. Fire in a cluttered space feels overwhelming instead of motivating. Many of us are carrying too much, unfinished tasks, old obligations, outdated goals, and yeses your soul was quietly saying no to. When you carry so much, you lose access to your own clarity. You think you're tired because you're lazy when your energy is really scattered across things that are already complete, ready to be released, or perhaps things that were never yours to begin with. So in March, we invited you to ask, what am I ready to clear? What is no longer serving me? And sometimes the answer is practical: a pile of papers, a closet, an unfinished project. And sometimes it's emotional: a resentment, a fear, a pattern, a belief that says, I can't. Clearing isn't just about getting rid of things, it's about creating space in your life for focus and your next step to become visible again. So when we moved into April, we were talking about planting your garden, which is really your goals, and choosing about what you wanted to grow and enhance this year. So when we moved into growth in April, we asked, what do you want to grow this year? And I asked you to come back and choose 1 to 3 meaningful goals, just 1 to 3, not 25, not every dream at once. When everything matters equally, nothing gets the attention it needs. So April was about choosing what truly matters and then creating small, achievable steps toward it. Many of us are waiting for the big breakthrough, the perfect time, plan, or mood, but most progress comes from simple, consistent actions: 1 email, 1 call, 1 honest conversation, and 1 small promise kept to yourself. And that's how trust in yourself is rebuilt and momentum grows. I have 2 reminders that we covered, and I want to recover again today. These are my reminders to carry with you. The first one is first things first. What actually matters right now, not what's loudest, what's most important. And the second one is finish what you start. What can you finish so your energy comes back to you? Unfinished things create open loops in your mind, and too many open loops leave you scattered. So choose what matters, take small, steady steps, finish what you can, and don't keep digging up your seed to see if it's growing, which is your goal, the double checking. Trust the process you're in. And for myself, with first things first and finish what you start, I actually have 2 notes in my office area that say, one says first things first and the other says finish what you start. So as the girl energy that sometimes can multitask too much, that's a reminder that if dirty dishes are something that I need to handle and it doesn't take very long, then if it's derailing me, I will finish it. It could be something else that you just need that 1 phone call to make or a couple of emails to send, and then it's off your list and out of your head. So first things first, and then finish what you start is the same as what I just covered. So know what's most important, and then block out the time for it. I will put myself on do not disturb when I need to finish something or to tackle what's most important at the time. So choose what matters. Take small, steady steps. Finish what you can, and don't keep digging up your seed to see if it's growing. Another thing that I wanted to cover is an important idea that I've been working with, but I hadn't really captured what it was about or as well how to talk about it. But there's a book that I read by Dan Sullivan, and it talks about the gain and not just the gap. So one of the most important ideas we've talked about in these past podcasts is about measuring the gain instead of focusing only on the gap. So what is the gain? The gain is the distance between where you are now, where you were in the beginning. The gain is the distance between where you were and where you are now. So measuring your progress is really important. So living in the gap, which is the distance to where you are now and where you want to be, can be really defeating. It sounds like I'm not there yet. I should be further along. Other people are ahead of me. That kind of thinking drains your motivation. So take some time, and I try and do it daily, and pay attention to how far you've come. Give yourself credit. It gives you motivation. It lets you know that you are moving forward. The gain tracks on how far you've already come, the decision you made, the habit you started, the pattern you noticed, the moment you paused instead of reacted, the support you finally allowed in. Maybe the whole mountain isn't climbed, but instead you are not standing where you were, and that matters. For the rest of the year, take some time and keep noticing, what is my gain, my progress? What have I learned? What am I doing differently now that I wasn't before? Encouragement creates movement, and movement creates more confidence. So now we're into May, and what's been blocking your progress? So our first episode in May, I'm procrastinating. What's blocking you? We asked if procrastination isn't the real problem. It's a signal that something deeper needs attention. Fear, an old belief, a hidden emotional block, or a nervous system quietly asking, is this safe? When we only call ourselves lazy, we miss the deeper question. Instead of asking, what is wrong with me? We can ask, what am I carrying? What feels heavy here? What is the smallest honest step I can take? The shift from blame to curiosity is powerful because shame freezes us. Curiosity opens the door. In our second May episode, what if less reactive was your new normal? We explored some of the hidden imprints people carry. Negative broadcast messages, something you're broadcasting out. I had a friend of mine, as I mentioned before, who called me up and wanted to know why people weren't treating her well. And she said, what the heck? Do I have abuse me written on my forehead? And I didn't know at the time. And a couple weeks later, as I was exploring the body code practice that I now do, I ran across the negative broadcast message, and abuse me was one of the things. And I called her up and I said, guess what? It's a thing. You have a negative broadcast message, and I know how to remove it. And so I worked with her in one session and removed that process. I'm a quantum energy practitioner, so you can use the quantum field to take people's energies away that are getting in their way. And she went back into her current situation where people weren't being nice to her. But instead of putting up with it, she said, this isn't working, and walked out of the situation. And I've observed her since then. And so much has shifted in a positive way for her because she's choosing more supportive relationships, because that abuse me is not projecting out. There are also messages and imprints like a no will to do something or a will to do something messages, or idea allergies where you're allergic to the thought of work. Somebody could have that, or whatever the idea is. There's a whole list that I work with. And there's also trapped trauma energy from physical and emotional traumas that you had that get in your way, that make you reactive. And then something like memory fields, where you have a picture or some sort of memory that's just an echo, but it's still getting in your way and creating some reactivity. So in simple terms, these are hidden patterns that influence how we feel and respond. And you may consciously want to move forward, but underneath, something says, I have no will to succeed, no will to be seen, no will to receive help. Or you can think, I want love and success or rest. And your system reacts as if those things aren't safe. You can't stop. You can't rest because everything will fall apart. And that's why you feel divided inside. One part of you says yes, another part pulls back. When those hidden energies begin to clear, you will feel calmer, lighter, more focused, more like your true self. Because the real you isn't the triggered reaction or the old fear. The real you is underneath those patterns, waiting for room to come forward. You are not broken. You may simply be carrying things that are ready to be released. So in last week's podcast, we covered why won't they listen? It was all about relationships, because this year isn't only about personal goals. It's also about connection. There's a whole astrology that supports connection and numerology that does too. So in order to move forward in a 1 year, 2026 is a numerology 1 year, we need to learn to receive support. And we may have to make some extra efforts to connect and find people that will support us. One of the most painful feelings in a relationship is the feeling that someone isn't listening. And that's what last week's message was about. You end up interpreting this when you're not feeling listened to as I don't matter, I'm alone in this, and I can't get through. And when that touches an old wound, the conversation escalates fast. One person gets defensive, the other shuts down, one wants comfort, the other helpfully offers solutions that aren't wanted, and someone wants to be heard, and the other thinks they're being blamed. Suddenly, the conversation isn't about the topic anymore. It's about safety, respect, and old wounds. And so this third podcast in May, listening becomes healing. True listening isn't waiting for your turn or preparing your defense. It's saying to yourself, I want to understand what's going on. I can pause before I react. I don't have to agree with every word to care about your experience. This kind of listening creates safer relationships, not perfect ones, but safer ones. And this helps in business and personal life. And safer relationships help us move forward because most of our goals require support. If we're too triggered or too defended, we push away the very help we need. We are not meant to do everything alone. So as I'm ending up this May, there's a phrase I want you to carry forward. Keep your focus on what you want. It sounds simple, but it isn't always easy because the world, other people, and your own fears give you a lot to react to. If you're not careful, you end up spending all of your energy focused on what you don't want, what's not going well. And focusing on what you don't want creates a situation where you get more of those don'ts. I had to learn myself over time that the universe ignores the word don't or the word no. So if you're writing affirmations or goals, write them in a positive way without any negatives. Gently shift your language. Instead of saying, I don't want to be sick, try, I choose vibrant health. Instead of saying, I don't want to be anxious all the time, try, I choose to be calm and trust in my future. Instead of saying, I don't want to be alone, try, I choose to welcome the support I need. A clue about positive thinking and affirmations that makes them more powerful is to use the word choose for your goals. I learned this years ago in a class I took long ago in the 80s. Wanting something doesn't mean that you'll take any steps to accomplish this desire. It's like turning back the page corners in a catalog of the things you might want to buy. Choosing is like putting your credit card down for the purchase. You've let the universe know you're serious, that you'll take the steps to accomplish your desire. The purchase may take a while to come, but you have the faith that what you bought will be delivered. And so that's why sometimes the things we're choosing don't show up right away, just the same way the catalog order might have gotten delayed. But keep your focus on it, and it will be delivered. And this isn't about pretending challenges won't exist, but I want you to keep your focus on what you've chosen. Your attention feeds something. So ask yourself, what am I feeding? Fear and old stories or possibility? Are you feeding the gain, the progress, your next step, the future you actually want? This is a daily practice and maybe the most important one for the rest of the year. I'd like to give you a simple path forward as we're ending this May. Nothing complicated, just a clear way to continue forward. Number 1, release what no longer serves you. Spend some time taking a look at what you've promised to do or obligations maybe that no longer serve. What are you still carrying that belongs to the past? What belief or pattern is ready to go? Start with one thing. It could be I'm not worthy or I'm not smart enough, but let some of that information go. Number 2 is choose what matters. Return to your 1 to 3 most important goals that you have for this year. Do they still matter? And if they do, keep your focus there. Which one needs your attention now? Number 3 is take small, steady steps. Not the perfect step, not the biggest, the next step that keeps you moving forward. And measure your gain, the progress, to stay motivated. 4, first things first and finish what you start. Those are 2 important ideas that I have with me every day. Look for open loops. What can be complicated? Complete it. What can be completed or wrapped up? Completion gives energy back, clears your mind, and sets your priorities. And number 5, learn how to practice listening and receiving support. Who can support you? Where do you need to listen more deeply or communicate more clearly? This is a year about connection, and it's about aligned connection, not just independence. And before we close, I want to speak to those of you who feel behind. Maybe you had big plans and thought you'd be further along. Maybe life happened, your energy dropped, or you started strong and slowed down. This happens to all of us. Take a breath. You're not finished. The year isn't even half over yet. This year is still unfolding. Your future isn't canceled because you had a slow season, and sometimes it's about timing. The slow season is where the deeper understanding can happen, where you strengthen the foundation so the next step can hold. Don't use the gap, the distance to your goal, to punish yourself. Look at the gain. Ask, what have I learned? What am I ready to do differently? What is one small step I can take today? You don't have to restart the whole year. You just have to return to your path. One step is enough to begin again. So as we close today, keep your focus on what you want, not what you fear, not what went wrong, not the things that you really can't do anything about, which does put you into fear. Put your focus on what you want ahead of you. Focus on what you want to create, on the gain, on your next small step, on the relationships that support your growth, and on releasing what's been holding you back. The title of this podcast, Release Your Potential Now with Jane, is important to me because your potential is already there. It may be covered by fear, tangled in past pain, or hidden behind procrastination and self-doubt, but it is still there. Sometimes the work isn't about forcing yourself to become someone else. Sometimes it's about releasing what was never truly you, so the clearer, wiser, more courageous part of you can come forward. Thank you for listening to Releasing Your Potential Now with Jane. I'm Jane Phillips. To learn more about my work, schedule a session, or continue this journey with me, visit janecphillips.com or look at my YouTube channel to listen to previous podcasts. My channel is Jane C. Phillips 4406. And as you move into the rest of this year, remember, release what's holding you back. Keep your focus on what you want. Take one small step. Let support meet you and trust that your future awaits. Thank you for listening.
You've been listening to Release Your Potential Now with Jane, your weekly dose of energy wisdom and healing. Tune in on Transformation Talk Radio to unlock the power of energy healing and transform your life one insight at a time. Share this episode with a friend who's feeling stuck and might benefit from a little extra support on their journey. Together, we can create a ripple effect of healing and positivity, empowering individuals to live healthier, more joyful lives. Are you ready to gain control of your life and health? Then visit janecphillips.com to book a session, join a workshop, or explore how energy wisdom can help you heal and thrive.